Hey guys, this is Stinger from the Ghost Squadron Airsoft team, and today we're going to be doing some tech work on an Airsoft GI FMG4 A1 Hard Next Gen Airsoft rifle owned by James from MTAC. We're going to be putting in a ProWin hop-up unit and tuning the fitment of it to make sure it shoots well, and if there's any other issues, we'll be taking a look at that as well. So just to start, here's the bag. I've already taken all of the accessories out of it, which were this mid-cap mag, the Lonex flash mag that comes with the FMG4, the ProWin hop-up unit, and a 9.6 volt, I believe this is a NIM battery, a NIMH, nickel metal hydrate. We also got some 0.25 gram Elite Force BBs from the owner and the stock barrel, because right now there's a MadBull version 2 Black Python in there. Some of you may notice that it looks a lot like my Wraith, and that is because this is the Wraith Junior. James liked mine so much that he decided to go out and get his own and name it after mine. But it is the same model FMG4 as mine, pretty much, besides the fact that there are some internal differences that Airsoft GI added to improve upon this, or improve upon my version. Mine's a little bit older. It's like half a year older than this one. So this one is a little bit different. You might even notice that the receiver is actually a matte finish color. Mine's a little bit more shiny than that, and I actually like this one better. So, James, I am jealous of your receiver. It looks to be in pretty good condition. It's relatively new. He's had it for 3 to 4 weeks. There's just like some scratches on it and things like that, a little bit of dirt in the pistol grip. But other than that, it looks really nice. So, the first thing to do is actually chrono it with the current parts before we try installing anything, and just see how it shoots. Alright guys, we're using the customer's 9.6 volt nickel metal hydrate battery inside the customer's gun with the customer's mid-cap magazine using the customer's 0.25 gram Elite Force BBs. So this is on the chronograph, 318.8 FPS, 319.8 FPS, 313.6 FPS, 317.5 FPS, and 319 FPS. So we averaged 317.8 FPS plus or minus about 2 to 3 FPS, which is pretty good consistency, but it's quite a bit lower than what Airsoft GI advertises. Now remember, we used 0.25 gram BBs, and the general rule is that you can add 40 FPS every time you add 0.05 grams, and that will get you into the approximate area of what a 0.2 gram BB would shoot at. So using that rule, we add about 40 FPS, and with a 0.2 gram BB, this would be shooting about 360 FPS. Now, that's still about 40 FPS to 50 FPS lower than what Airsoft GI advertises these at, so that might be due to the fact that James messed around with the inner barrel and top-up units a little bit. So we'll just install the new one, the new ProWin, and see where we can go from there. Alright, so we're back. First thing we're going to do is remove the battery, because I have not yet done that. Oh, come on. It is a Tamiya. Just note to the customer, I recommend eventually you switch over to Ultra Plugs, commonly known as Deans. They're just better in pretty much every way. So keep that in mind. Next thing to do is split the upper from the lower, which is just on using a little hammer pin tool. Didn't actually need a hammer for that one. Oh, and they even got rid of the little metal nub that's up here that you normally have to pull the charging handle back for. I'm not quite sure why they got rid of that, maybe just because it overcomplicates things when you're taking it apart, but normally there's a nub there that prevents you from pulling it all the way forward, and you have to pull the charging handle back and kind of stretch it over. So that's kind of interesting. Alright. So everything looks pretty normal. Here's the inner barrel and hop-up unit, stock hop-up unit, and MadBull Black Python version 2 tightbore inner barrel, which the client installed himself. So I want to make sure. It looks like the nub is in there. So it's not inside of this, because I know that the customer tried installing this but couldn't get it right. So a common issue with the ProWin hop-up unit is that it takes a lot of tuning and fitting to get it to seal perfectly back against the air nozzle here, because you want it tight against that so that air doesn't leak out and cause a compression leak, which will cause you to lose range. But in the same way, you don't want it to be too far back, because then the magazine won't be able to fit up into it. I just put BBs inside of it. But that's basically how it works. And if this is too far back, the magazine won't be able to connect to that. So we can move the lower receiver out of the way, because all we need to deal with right now is the upper receiver. Now, Airsoft GI did start including springs inside of there that go around the inner barrel to push this back against the air nozzle and seal it well against that. That's a good feature. Personally, I've been using O-rings there just to keep it back, because I don't have tons of springs that I can just put on whatever I want. Normally the ProWin hop-up units come totally disassembled, and I believe that the client assembled this himself. I'm actually going to disassemble it and then reassemble it to make sure it was all done properly. And also because I'm going to have to put the hop-up nub into there anyways. Where's my needle point tool? There we go. Now this should just come right off. So these are all the parts for the ProWin over here. Just leave that there. Now we're going to disassemble the stock hop-up unit. Like that. Here's the hop-up bucking. I just want to make sure this is aligned properly on the inner barrel. Alright. Don't need to deal with that right now. And all we need out of this is the nub, so we actually shouldn't have to disassemble this. I should be able to just get it out with my needlepoint tool, or by shaking it a bit. There we go. Here's the nub. Lots of times the good thing to do is to actually assemble it with the inner barrel and hop-up bucking in it already, so that the hop-up bucking prevents the nub from falling through and out. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Put the C-clip on it. C-clip is kind of hard to get it to fit right. It kind of just likes to sit there. But that's okay. I haven't had any issues with that on mine, because I of course do run a ProWin hop-up unit in my Wraith. Alright, so it's now fully assembled. I'm going to turn the dial real quick so that you can look down it and see. See that little bump? That is the hop-up nub pushing the hop-up bucking into the inner barrel, which is good because that's what it's supposed to do. That's how it puts a spin on the BB, causing hop-up. Just turn it back down, because when you chrono you want your hop-up all the way off so that the hop-up doesn't interfere with the velocity of the BB. We will put it all back together. See that, how it pushes back against me? That's because there's that spring in there. hopefully that will cause it to seal well. But generally these ProWin hop-up units require some messing around, so we will find out. Okay, using the upgrade hop-up unit, still using the customer's 0.25 gram BBs and the customer's 9.6 volt nickel metal hydrate battery. $178, $144, $132, $126, and $141. So, as is to be expected, it's chronoing much lower with the upgrade hop-up unit because it needs to be fitted back on the gun. So we will do that next. What we have to do to get this to sit further back against the air nozzle is to add some material up here to push it back further. On my gun I used some small O-rings, and that's probably what we're going to end up doing here. So basically just an O-ring which goes around this right here, and you slide it all the way back to the hop-up unit. Right there. Now this acts kind of like the spring and provides a cushion. It's a lot stiffer than the spring, and we'll probably leave the spring in there, at least for now. Reassembled, time to go back and test it. I put 2 of those O-rings onto it. Depending on the FPS readings, we might add some more or take some away. We are again using the customer's BBs with the customer's battery. 131, 183, 172, 133, and 120.3. So an average of 148.1, that's about 30 FPS higher than when it was last time we chronoed, so we're getting there. Still have to add a little bit more material to the front of that, so I'll probably add another O-ring. Alright, I added another O-ring. Here we go. 249, 328, 327, 330.2, 327.9, and 329.6. So that first shot was just a fluke. I guess there was just like a tiny compression leak somewhere. That's why it was at 215 FPS or whatever it was. We'll start another string and go another 5 rounds. 327.6, 330, 328, 319, and nothing, and 329.6. So already it's shooting at a higher velocity than it was when I received this gun from the client. And we've got the ProWin hop-up unit. Thing kind of just glitched out, so I'll just... Alright guys, that's it for this client project. We've got it shooting around 330 FPS average with 0.25 gram BBs using the ProWin hop-up unit, which is right in there, as you can see. So this is done. I couldn't really get it to shoot any higher than it was. I already had it shooting higher than it had been with the stock hop-up unit, but at this point there's really no more that I can do to it without actually going into the gearbox. I've got, I believe, 4 O-rings on there right now, maybe just 3. No, it's 4. I have 4 O-rings on there right now with the stock spring. I put that back in just because it actually shot better with that spring, pushing it further back. No tape on it over where the C-clip was. Other than that, this is done. The client's actually going to come by very soon to pick it up. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was educational, and I'll see you guys later.
Joseph's back here. Yeah. Pretty sure I hit Frankie. Whoa!